Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Royal Rumble 2014. And, you know, what can I say? This is probably the first time I've ever been disappointed with a WWE or wrestling show, but actually enjoyed the vast majority of the pay-per-view. And I'll go ahead and explain. We'll start with the New Age Outlaws match, the New Age Outlaws and Cody Rhodes and Goldust match right off the get-go from the pre-show. I thought it was an excellently done tag team match. Even though three of the guys are above the age of 40 in this one, they definitely did not look it in the ring. And I think that benefits greatly off of how Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and Goldust styles are. They don't really hurt themselves because of age at that point in time, and they can actually put together really good matches. They've known how to put good matches together for the longest period of time, and with the aspect just behind how their in-ring styles are, it doesn't hinder them regardless of the age that they're at, and it's really showing. Matter of fact, Goldust is probably better now than he was during his initial runs back in the WWF. So, very enjoyable tag team match, and good to see that the Outlaws are getting the tag team title push, because we'll go with a little bit later on. It looks like they are going to kind of go with a Cody Rhodes Goldust type feud here, and I really hope they do, because I think they could put on a great match together, and it will definitely be a way to either push Cody back into a heel, or just, you know, having the match in general would be something fun to watch. This will bring me right into how the pay-per-view started. I felt the only logical way for the actual pay-per-view to start was the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match. And just on the aspect of what the other matches were of the night, you have the Royal Rumble match, you have Brock Lesnar, Big Show, and Randy Orton, John Cena. Those matches aren't going to go on first. So the only logical way to start it would be with the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match. And honestly, this was an excellent match. Great way to start the show. Of course, the great crowd reaction that you got. I love the camera shot that they had right at the beginning, where they panned the hard camera back to get the entire crowd doing the yes chant. That was a great camera angle. Love seeing that camera angle there. And then the match between Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan was just great. Hard-hitting maneuvers. You really got an aspect of what Bray Wyatt can do in the ring, and obviously you already know what Daniel Bryan can do and how he can put people over. He really, I felt the best way was to actually put Bray Wyatt over and put him over cleanly to allow him to go to the next level. So I wasn't really angry with the fact that they put Bray Wyatt over cleanly in this one and allowed Daniel Bryan to lose the match. I thought it was the best course of action for the Wyatt family in general, and obviously, you know, with Daniel Bryan being as over as he is at this point, it doesn't really hurt him at all for him losing the match either. So just in the end, like I said, I felt this was by far the best match of the night. Not just on the aspect of how the crowd reactions were later on. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But just in the terms of the spots that they did, the ending spot was done perfectly. I absolutely love the beginning of the ending spot with doing the Sister Abigail outside into the barricade and then redoing the move back in the ring to win the match. I thought that was very well done and just great to watch. Overall, best match of the night right at the beginning of the show. They did a great job. They're putting the Wyatt family over. Loving the gimmick as it is. He doesn't look like that typical WWE superstar, but his character has that very creepy feel to it, and it's coming off really well. And good to see that that Bray Wyatt was going over in this match. This brings me to the Brock Lesnar Big Show match. Honestly, I didn't really care about this match going in there because, you know, Brock Lesnar wasn't there to build much of the storyline. It was pretty much just Paul Heyman promos. And honestly, that's the only good thing that I care about Brock Lesnar at this point in time. You get to hear Paul Heyman cut promos, and that's literally the only good thing, because this match was just kind of a throwaway, which is kind of weird that they would go with they would book a kind of throwaway style where, you know, he was attacking with a chair beforehand, and then he had such a short match with it before after the bell actually rang. It you know, the reason why I say that's a little bit weird is because of how infrequent Brock Lesnar is in within the company and on the show. So you figured it would be a little bit longer drawn out. Maybe you could have displayed Brock Lesnar's strength a little bit more, because back in like Survivor Series 2002, they had him suplexing Big Show all over the place. Kind of weird that they didn't go with some of those spots again before the F5. And then, of course, the continuous beatdown afterward. It's basically trying to show that he's should be the #1 contender, everything like that. Whatever, don't care much about Brock Lesnar. We'll move along here. And this leads to the John Cena Randy Orton match. And I'll take these last two matches with a grain of salt. And that's on the aspect that I'm going to look at them in two different perspectives. Obviously, the crowd did not want to see Orton and Cena again. They let them know right before the match even began. They started doing Daniel Bryan chants and everything that trying to, you know, boo them out of the building, everything like that. Honestly, the match itself was a really good match. Just the way the two of them worked together. They had great chemistry in the ring and everything. They put on a really good match. It was just the crowd kind of ruined it because they didn't want to see that match again. And in a way, you don't blame them, because you've seen the match plenty of times. But this was actually, you know, a different type of match from the two of them. They went with that old kind of main event feel type of superstars, where the superstars are stealing each other's finishers and everything like that, because Orton did the attitude adjustment and Cena did the RKO in there, and they did some really good spots in there. And it's a shame that actually a really good match never got over with the crowd in any way, shape, or form. And that's just what I have to say about the John Cena and Randy Orton match. Really good match. Crowd wasn't into it because they've seen it. They've seen these two have matches plenty of times, but they actually put on a different type of match, and a really good one at that. This brings me to the Royal Rumble match. For the most part, and I'll go ahead and say, just for the most part, I enjoyed the Royal Rumble match. It's a fun match to watch every year. The only real disappointment behind it, well, outside the fact that Batista runs in the ring at number 28 and blows himself up and is sucking wind before number 30 gets out there, that's one of the biggest disappointments. I don't think the fans would have been as mad with the match result if Daniel Bryan was just in the match. If they would have brought out Daniel Bryan to at least be in the match, he could play up injuries from the match, or from his match with Bray Wyatt or something like that. You had both Luke Harper and Rowan out there. He could try to go out there, be a number entry when both of them are out there, and try to exact a little bit of revenge in that sense. They could have played a storyline with that in there. I liked the CM Punk side story in there as well. With Kane, it was interesting seeing Kane come out with in still somewhat business attire to get in there, and obviously was out of there really quickly, and then of course reappeared later to eliminate Punk. Still not one of my favorite spots, with having somebody who's already been eliminated from the Rumble or not in the Rumble eliminating someone else, but you know, they do that spot from time to time. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely a way to set up a side story between CM Punk and Kane before CM Punk either feuds with Triple H or some other way of the Authority going into WrestleMania. So I definitely like that. I like the potential beginning of maybe a feud between Cody Rhodes and Goldust, because Goldust accidentally eliminates Cody Rhodes. So maybe there's going to be something in there for the two of them to start a feud. The Shield deal in there, of course, making Roman Reigns look like a complete monster. I absolutely Loved the way they put Roman Reigns over in this match. Having him break Kane's record was probably also a good way of doing it, and also making him the final two in there was another good way of putting him over. They really did a good job of putting over Roman Reigns. But the main underlining story of this was the factor that, and you didn't really see anything too crazy from the crowd. I mean, they popped for Sheamus's return, which was a great, nice little moment in there. Not maybe a surprise moment, but you know, someone returning during the Rumble. That was a perfect time for Sheamus to return. Maybe they'll have him feud. I'm not sure who they're going to have him feud with at this point. Maybe they'll turn him heel, and this is just his one of those few times he's going to be face before doing it. So the Sheamus return was done well. Like I said, I liked how they did the Cody Rhodes and Goldust potential storyline starter. The Shield, they did a little bit of a Shield potential breakup with Roman Reigns almost getting eliminated by the two members of the Shield, and then him actually eliminating the other two Shield members. Maybe they'll finally go with a potential Shield breakup at this point in time. It was and like I said, the way they put over Roman Reigns in the match was great. And this does bring me to the main underlining point of the Royal Rumble match, and that was Daniel Bryan not being in the match itself. And like I said right at the beginning of going into this match, I don't think the fans would have been as angry with the result of Batista winning the match if Daniel Bryan was actually in the match, because as soon as Rey Mysterio's music hit for number 30, you could tell from the crowd they were just highly disappointed, because at that point it gave no hope. It kind of gave that no hope. Okay, we know who the winner is. We might not really necessarily care about who the winner is going to be, but if they would have just had Daniel Bryan out there, it kind of gives them that little glimmer of hope, because it was pretty obvious that the crowd and a lot of other people wanted to see Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania. And at that point in time, that hope of seeing that potential storyline got thrown out. You already knew where they were going to go. Batista was going to win the match. He's going to WrestleMania type deal. And that was what probably made the fans more angry than anything. Obviously, Rey Mysterio is going to get a lot of the initial heat for coming out as number 30, being the last entrant, and Daniel Bryan not being there. And then, of course, Batista is going to get a lot of the heat for winning the match afterwards. And honestly, you know, from reading everything else I've been reading today, he apparently did other things after the show went off the air, mocking Daniel Bryan, flipping off fans, everything like that. So that's a good way of showing your professionalism, Batista, on that one as well. So, and plus, like I said right at the beginning of this as well, Batista looked terrible in this match. He was sucking wind within the first 2-3 minutes after being in there. He was pretty much in the corner trying to take a break before Rey Mysterio came out there into the match, and he entered in at number 28, and of course Mysterio was number 30. So the match itself, for the most part, was very enjoyable. Love the Kofi Kingston spots in there, and just the entrance that they had in there outside of not having Daniel Bryan, I thought was just a really good match. And just in the end, you had that disappointment because I'm a big Daniel Bryan fan. Obviously, a lot of people in the crowd were. There are tons of other people that are Daniel Bryan fans, wanted him in this match, and they're disappointed because he's not in there in some way, shape, or form. So that's where I get what I said at the beginning of the show, or the beginning of this review, is the matches, with the exception of Big Show Brock Lesnar, all the matches were really enjoyable, but you left the show disappointed. So it's an enjoyable show, it was a good show, but you're still leaving disappointed. Highly disappointed because of the aspect of Daniel Bryan not being in the Royal Rumble at that point in time. So, yeah, that's my review for WWE Royal Rumble 2014. As I said again, enjoyable show, but still leaves you very disappointed in the end. So, thank you guys for watching.